This is a story about a family friend that battled addiction due to the use of gateway drugs. Amber started her freshman year of high school out as a successful volleyball player and honor student. In her Spanish class, she met a cute guy named George. He began talking to her each class, and the two began to hit it off. On her 15th birthday, she took a pregnancy test and found out she was pregnant to her boyfriend, George. George spends his free time smoking marijuana in the woods and behind the school with his friends. Soon after they began smoking marijuana together every day to cope with the stress of the unplanned pregnancy, both of their parents were unsupportive of the pregnancy, which added additional stress. Months later, the baby was born, and in order to support his family, George got a job working on roofs. Things finally began looking up for this beginning family.
Things were going pretty smoothly. When the baby, Alan, was 3, George fell off of a ladder at work and hurt his back. This led to him being laid off of work until he was able to fully complete his job daily. After days of excruciating pain, he finally decided to go to the doctor. The doctor prescribed him hydrocodone, also known as Vicodin, every 4 hours as needed. Amber saw this as an opportunity to deal with the stress of raising a toddler and began using his pain pills. A week later, George returned to the doctor because his hydrocodone wasn't enough to control the pain. So the doctor prescribed him oxycodone, also known as Oxycontin, every 4 hours as needed. After 5 months, the doctor was unable to continue prescribing the oxycodone because he was concerned that addiction may be developing. His concerns turned out to be true. To deal with the unbearable pain and craving for adequate pain management, he turned to his local drug dealer for help.
They began getting oxycodone off the street, but they soon became way too expensive with the cost of a growing child. His drug dealer then informed him of a cheaper alternative to oxycodone, which is heroin. George was hesitant about using heroin, but he knew he needed to do something to make him feel better. George came home with the drug and introduced it to Amber. They both began using heroin to manage the pain and stress. Due to the chronic use, Amber's parents began worrying about the welfare of the child and the situation he was in. They called Children's Youth Services in hopes to open up George and Amber's eyes. The CYS removed Alan from the home and placed him in Amber's parents' home. They began raising him as their own child. After losing their child, they realized they needed to do something about it. So they went to their doctor and he sent them to their local methadone clinic. They both continued to use methadone, and George started to struggle with depression on top of the drug use, and one night he decided to take his own life. Amber continued to use methadone. Methadone is a narcotic painkiller medication that is used to treat heroin addiction. It's an opioid to lessen withdrawal symptoms that can last about 6 hours, and it can be highly addictive.
More recently, Amber was in a bad motorcycle accident that left her with a badly broken leg. She was prescribed hydrocodone again for pain on top of the already prescribed methadone. To this day, Amber remains on methadone, unable to completely wean off. Gateway drugs are drugs that can be habit-forming, but they aren't always habit-forming. Using them can lead to the use of harder drugs, and these secondary drugs are generally much more addictive. The 3 most common gateway drugs are alcohol, marijuana, and prescription medications. This shows the estimated economic cost of abuse and addiction. Illegal drugs cost about $193 billion a year. Alcohol is about $224 billion a year, and tobacco is $295 billion a year, totaling out to $712 billion a year. We hope that Amber's story will open your eyes to the many gateway drugs and the harmful effects that come from using them. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, call the Substance Abuse Confidential Helpline at 888-994-7955.